Well, traditionally, and from what you've experienced, have lead pastors been on board with family discipleship efforts, or has family ministry been more isolated and operating in a silo, or maybe has it been a blend of the
Well,
two?
yeah, it's been a blend. I think for the most part, in word they have been. I think that they would all agree that family discipleship is really important. What I think has happened over the last few years, maybe 10 years, is I don't know if you remember, but the youth ministry era, when it kind of hit its heyday back in the '80s, there's a term called like the one-eared Mickey
Yeah,
Mouse, right? And so
perfect for Orlando right now.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. So the church wanted to support youth ministry, but they kind of wanted it to be like on the fringe. Like we want to support it, but we don't want to take it over. Like we all don't want to play games, We all don't want to have lights and drums and stuff like that. So we'll put them in a silo over here, and we'll support it financially. We'll support it with time, but it's kind of on the peripheral. And then you saw that happen with children's ministry. And you saw it happen with college ministry. So you've got all these different ministries that are operating kind of independently of one another. And then you look out 20 years, and we have the church in the center, then all these silos on the outside. And what I fear is happening is we're beginning to do the same thing with what we would call family ministry, and I'm kind of worried about that area being siloed as well.
Well, I'm going to go Captain Obvious here with this next question, but why is it so important to have the lead pastor on board with family discipleship efforts?
That's a really good question, and honestly, from my experiences, working with churches and interviewing parents and interviewing other pastors, it really it's really the only way. I think that it's one of the only ways forward to actually move the needle towards that. As they say, leadership comes, it's kind of a top-down sort of thing, and the lead pastor has so much pull, so much influence in the congregation. In many ways, he kind of sets the tone for that, and so we've really got to work towards how do we get lead pastors involved. What are some things that we can do to bring them into this philosophy?
And something like just that I've noticed, I don't see lead pastors that are against this. They're not working against this. A lot of times it's maybe just not knowing how or knowing where to start. I mean, they're human like the rest of us, and we're all still learning. No senior pastor works 40 hours a week. If you're
Sure.
a part-time senior pastor, you're not part-time. I mean, you are putting in the hours, unknown hours that people in the church do not see, putting in the effort, putting in the blood, sweat, and tears, a lot of times literally
Right.
to get things done. And we appreciate what you do. So I'd like you to offer a word of encouragement to them, especially to those who see the need for this, but they're worried about either taking on a new ministry, or maybe they even feel inadequate because they failed to practice family discipleship with their own family.
Sure. Pastors put so much effort into what they are called to do. And so when you look at how you can align your curriculum, sermon alignment is not necessarily adding a new thing, something else on top of the schedule. You're already busy. That's not what it is. So when I interviewed parents who were going to churches where the pastor had aligned his sermon, right? When I interviewed them, I found some common themes. And so some of the common themes were it really energizes the conversations at home. So there's an energizing effect that happens like in the car ride. When you're on your way home from church, there's an energizing effect that happens when you're around the dinner table. It also heartens parents, and hearten means to give courage to. And so many parents don't engage in discipleship because I guess the technical term for it is biblical illiteracy, where they just don't feel like they know they know how to answer those questions. And so sermon alignment, if you're a pastor and you're thinking this is going to add something to my plate, it really doesn't, because what happens is you begin implementing sermon alignment, and these things start happening in the homes of your congregation. And what I found was there's a survey by Timothy Paul Jones. You probably know him.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's
We talked to him just a
influenced
little bit
me.
ago, yeah.
He's influenced me greatly. He has a family discipleship perception and practices survey. And what I found when I surveyed churches that had sermon alignment, what I found was that these churches had similar scores to churches that an expert panel had said was doing family ministry well. The kicker was the churches that I surveyed, they didn't have a quote unquote family ministry. Like they didn't have a family pastor. And so the way I take that is we have similar scores. We have churches over here that have a very dynamic approach to family ministry. And then you have these other churches where the pastor is just aligned his sermon and you see similar results. Now, I don't know about you, but if I'm a lead pastor, then I'm basically, now I've found a way to be a family pastor as well by simply doing something that I do every week anyway.